Hello and welcome. We're so happy that you're joining us this morning. We hope you're staying cool in Oregon on this crazily hot day. We are actually we are in Boston at the moment. Very much looking forward to coming out to Oregon in just a few short weeks. And we're thrilled to share some details of this summer's Willamette Valley Chamber Music Festival. If we haven't met yet, I'm Sasha Callahan.
And I'm Leo Eguchi, and welcome to our home. As Sasha mentioned, we're really excited to share details of the summer, the programming, all kinds of great details. And one of those, my favorite detail, is sitting right next to us. Our 2021 composer in residence is Osvaldo Golijov.
Hi.
If you don't know Osvaldo, he has accomplished many wonderful things. He's we have Max coming to see us. He's a recipient of the MacArthur Genius Grant, Guggenheim Fellow, a couple of Grammys. He's a distinguished professor of music at Holy Cross. He's been commissioned by just about everybody, and now his resume is complete.
Exactly.
He will be with us in Oregon. So we're so pleased to have you.
Thank you, and hi.
Throughout this season, the 3 weeks of the festival begin on August 6th, and we run until August 21st. And on each of the concerts this season, we will feature music by Osvaldo, and so we're so thrilled to have him with us this afternoon, so that he can tell you a little bit about the pieces, and we'll share some details of the program. So just to get started, we have our first concert of the season on August 7th at Sokol Blosser Winery. We will be welcoming people back in person for in-person concerts, and we couldn't be more thrilled. But we realize that the pandemic is not over yet, and so we have worked hard to create a safe environment for very small, limited in-person concerts, as well as continuing to offer online viewing options. So each online concert will offer some special content just for the online audience, and we're also very excited to be able to welcome you in person. The first concert, we have quite a contrasting group of pieces, starting with a really vibrant kind of rock and roll piece by Gabriella Smith called Carrot Revolution. We're also playing a beautiful impressionistic work by Taya Fair, who was the only woman in Les Six, an important group of composers in France. And then we're also bringing you a wonderful piece by a young composer named Joel Thompson called In Response to the Madness, as well as Beethoven's kind of stormy Opus 18 No. 4 string quartet. And then one of my very, very favorite pieces, Osvaldo's absolutely beautiful string quartet called Tenebrae, which some of you may remember we played on our very first set of concerts. And pretty much every year since then, someone has asked us to bring it back. So we are delighted to be bringing this piece back, and I wanted to ask you to say a few words about it.
Yeah, thank you, Sasha. Tenebrae is a relatively short piece, and in a way it's simple. It's just like the about the idea that something can be very beautiful from the distance and yet full of drama when you get close to it. And it's basically our planet. Right? I mean, it's just like that double perspective, how beautiful and serene it is when you look at it from outer space. I mean, I have never been outer space, but I've seen pictures. And how full of drama it is when you are in it. And I think that, Mozart can be like that too, right? I mean, like you can eat and have a Mozart piece in the background, and at the same time, if you actually, and it's beautiful, and you can keep eating. but if you stop eating and pay attention, it's a lot going on. So I think that's basically the idea.
Great. The second program this year is going to have us back in the Magical Barrel Room at J. Christopher Wines. Really special place to play music. And that is the week that Osvaldo will be with us in person, in residence. The program will have Haydn's Sunrise Quartet, Opus 76, number 4, and a very touching, very small movement for string trio by an interesting musician, Coleridge Taylor Perkinson, followed by, there will be 2 pieces of Osvaldo's on that program. One is a world premiere we're very excited about, Mentre la Pioggia, and closing the program will be Dreams and Prayers of Isaac the Blind, which, if you have a few comments on either of those.
Yeah. Well, one is very long, the other is short, very short. The Dreams and Prayers of Isaac the Blind is kind of an epic piece for clarinet and string quartet, and it, I think it draws from many aspects of Judaism. One is one that people may, because it made it into the popular culture, is the Kabbalistic aspect, which before Madonna got into it, there were many real sages that got into it. So Isaac the Blind was actually a sage from the Middle Ages, who was a Kabbalist sage. And it's interesting that for the Kabbalists, the letters of the alphabet had special powers, and especially the combinations of letters, the energy in between 2 letters, and so forth. And I feel that that's very musical, right? I mean, if you think of late Beethoven, that basically is recombining the same motif forever and ever, and Shostakovich too, with his initials, and Bach sometimes. So yeah, it's this idea of how the meaning of things changes, or how other interpretations can come by recombining a limited number of elements. But that's one of it. There are many, but yeah, that's Isaac the Blind. And the idea of blindness is, to me, the idea of blindness in relationship to music, right? Because first of all, there have been so many extraordinary blind musicians across history, starting with Homer, who probably, I think, sang or at least recited, and this idea of blindness allowing a musician to hold great structures, great architectures in time inside their head, right? I mean, and not be dependent on a text like we are in classical music, right? So I wanted to write a piece that is very long, and at the same time that can be apprehended by the performers as like played by heart, so to speak. Yeah.
We can't wait. We're so excited to play all of this music, but especially Dreams and Prayers is one that we've been looking to do for a long time. So we're thrilled to play it this summer. The third weekend of concerts, we will open with Caroline Shaw's very vibrant Valencia, which was inspired by a sort of common grocery store orange. And then we will perform Gershwin's very beautiful Lullaby for string quartet, which was written in 1919 as they were coming out of the Spanish flu pandemic and World War I. And then we will bring you a beautiful piece of Golijov's that you wrote during the pandemic, as well as Schubert's incredible G major string quartet, his final string quartet. So would you say a few words about A Room on Fire?
Yeah, I feel terrible talking about it. A little ditty.
You can talk about Schubert too. You can talk about any of it.
No, it's okay. I mean, the piece I wrote, it is not, I mean, it's just a fantasy on a Yiddish song that the title means Around the Campfire, and it's a song that is very popular. Even when I was a kid, I learned it. I say it's from the 19th century probably. But anyways, I wrote it when I learned that a Jewish friend of mine from Argentina had died of COVID. So I thought, since he sang in a Yiddish chorus, I thought, well, in his honor, I would just do this little fantasy. So it's a beautiful song, yeah.
A few notes about the summer. For one, you may have noticed there are some themes linking some of this programming together. We are featuring a work of Osvaldo's on every concert. We've been thinking a lot about how this feels to be coming out of the pandemic. We're not out yet, but it feels like a weight has been lifted and we're sort of waking up. And we've had fun putting together pieces that kind of explore that across generations. So we have some pieces like Arun Dame Fire that were written during this this pandemic and express some feelings that we've had. We also have some pieces such as the Taillefer String Quartet and Gershwin's Lullaby that were written in 1919 as the world was opening up from the Spanish flu pandemic and World War I. We thought it would be interesting to compare that. We also have a few pieces that sort of take this idea very literally. We've been thinking about ourselves as maybe like the grapevines in the vineyards, waking up and after a long winter and wanting to stretch out some new tendrils and shoots. And we've been thinking about it like new growth, and we thought it would be fitting to include Caroline Shaw's Valencia, which is a very fun piece, inspired actually not by the place Valencia, but by an orange in the supermarket, as well as Carrot Revolution on the first week, which is inspired by a quote attributed to Cézanne, in which he said that the day will come when a carrot freshly observed will start a revolution. And
that's an amazing idea.
So we've been having fun with this moment, and hopefully we can share it all together. And
yeah, and I just wanted to ask Osvaldo to tell us just a little bit more about sort of your musical heritage and inspiration for those who aren't as familiar with you and your work. You were born in Argentina.
I was born in Argentina in 1960. Born in a family. My mom was a pianist, so I grew up with classical music. My dad was not a musician, but he adored tango and Tchaikovsky. So I'm from Eastern European Jewish background, and for me, growing up, both culturally and musically, was a very continuum of what from outside feels like a very disparate set of influences, right? I mean, like Bach and Beethoven and Mozart and Schubert and Bartok with my mom, and traditional tango with my father, and liturgical Jewish music because I sang in the choir and arranged stuff for the synagogue. Anyways, new tango, that was a huge influence of me for me by Astor Piazzolla. I don't know if whoever doesn't know Astor Piazzolla, you are going to have a most astonishing experience discovering his music. So yeah, and then I moved to Jerusalem when I was in my early 20s, lived there and absorbed a lot of Arabic music and Jewish Sephardic music, you know, the North Africa and Yemen and all of that. And then moved here and absorbed other music. So my music, I think, reflects this itinerant life, right? Which I think that it was an oddity once, but now seems to be more common. I mean, when you look at all the migration currents that are in our world, right? I don't think that my experience now is so unusual. So more or less that.
Well, we love the idea of sharing your music and experience in relation to how that is more and more the way the world is. And I think there's a lot of ways for people to relate, whether they share your cultural background in any way or not. And to me, that ties together with the other composers, as you were saying.
Right. But one thing about music that is, to me, incredible, and sometimes it happens in literature too, right? That you do something that is very particular and localized, but it becomes so universal, right? Like Garcia Marquez, 100 Years of Solitude, right? I mean, it's just about an invented town in the middle of Colombia, but it has hit the heart of people all over the world, probably because we all come from some sort of family. I don't know. But anyways, music is the same. I mean, some musics, like musics that I have not a common lived experience with can really, really hit me. Like, let's say, fado, the Portuguese music. I have nothing to do with my lived experience, but somehow it must be tapping into, I think of the soul as a territory, right, with regions, and it must be some central territory in my soul that, anyways, so it's an interesting thing, music and place and universality and so forth.
I feel like there's some shared genetic material between fado music, tango music,
totally,
Jewish music.
I think
there's the soul is shared.
Melancholy, nostalgia, dislocation,
but also love.
Yeah, love.
But also
love
darker things.
Yeah, but love is everywhere.
Okay. Well, but there's a certain recipe of the blend, the balance.
Yeah.
But this is part of what I love about different cultures. When you travel around the world, there's sort of features of humanity that the different cultures really want ownership of, when in truth we all have them all.
Right.
There are different expressions of them, but
it's interesting. I think but some music is in the same way that some composers have specialized. Like, I don't know how you describe Chopin's music, but whatever, he's a specialist, right? And but also cultures are specialists. Like, for instance, tango. Tango, I feel like, if you need a doctor that's for sexual provocation, go to the tango doctor. So it's like, I mean, it resonates with everybody because everybody, or almost everybody, experiences that, right? So you should go to the tango doctor. So anyway, so I think that different cultures have explored different, that have expanded the universe of something that perhaps is very small in us. It's just one little aspect of our personality, but somehow it's like, oh, I'm far away from tango, but I know that feeling.
Yeah. Well, we are so excited to bring you all into the conversation this summer. We are looking forward to being in tasting rooms and barrel rooms and out on the terrace enjoying the evening with all of you and with Osvaldo and the rest of the musicians. There's lots more information for you on our website, wvchambermusic.org.
I wanted to throw in one thing on the subject of the terraces that Sasha just mentioned, and that is that though capacity is down for safety reasons this year, we have been looking to take advantage of that and make all of our experiences even more personal and intimate with each other. And so all of our concerts this year will have more opportunities to interact. There will be food as add-ons to the programs. So if you have a chance to make an evening of it, as on your, make a beautiful drive out to wine country, enjoy the concert, and spend some time eating and drinking with us afterwards. We would love that. Osvaldo will be with us on August 14th, if you want to put that one into your book first. So we can't wait to share it together.
Thank you again so much for being with us today, and we look forward to seeing you in just a few weeks out in Oregon wine country.
Cheers.
Cheers.